You think you know Princess Diana, the fairytale wedding, the people's princess, the Paris tunnel, the flowers outside Kensington Palace? 750 million people watched her walk down that aisle. 2.5 billion watched her funeral. Most people remember her as a tragic figure, a beautiful woman who was loved by the world and destroyed by the monarchy that was supposed to protect her. That is the version the documentaries sell you, the version that keeps her as a victim. But Diana was not a victim. She was a fighter, and in the final years of her life, she was winning. She took on the most powerful institution in Britain, the crown itself, and she was dismantling it from the inside. The palace stripped her title, tried to push her out, tried to control the narrative. She gave a televised interview watched by 23 million people and told the entire country the truth about her marriage on the BBC, without permission. That is not a victim. That is a woman who refused to be silenced. This is the Princess Diana story that gets buried under the grief and the glamour. The story of how she fought back, what it cost her, and why August 31st, 1997 is not just a tragedy, it is something darker than that. July 1st, 1961, Sandringham, Norfolk, England. Diana Frances Spencer is born, the fourth child of John Spencer and Frances Roche. Her parents had been desperate for a boy to carry on the family name. When Diana arrived, no name was chosen for a week. The disappointment was that visible. She grows up in the shadow of that. A child who arrived when she was not what her family wanted. Her parents divorce when she is 7 years old. Her mother leaves. Her father wins custody. Diana describes her childhood as very unhappy and very unstable. She watches her mother walk out of the house, and she never fully recovers from what that feels like. She fails her O-levels twice. She is not academically gifted, and the school system makes sure she knows it. She leaves at 16 with no qualifications and moves to London. She works as a nursery assistant, a cleaner, a babysitter. She is 19 years old and entirely ordinary. And then Charles, Prince of Wales, notices her. He is 29. She is 16 the first time they meet. He is dating her older sister. 3 years later, he is looking for a wife, someone young enough to be shaped, aristocratic enough to be acceptable, and naive enough not to ask too many questions. Diana fits every requirement. What she does not know, what nobody tells her, is that Charles is already in love with someone else, has been for years, Camilla Parker Bowles, married to another man, completely unavailable, and completely in possession of Charles's heart. Diana is not marrying a prince, she is marrying a prop. 750 million people watch the wedding and call it a fairy tale. Diana is already falling apart inside the palace walls, and the institution that is supposed to protect her is about to show her exactly what it is made of. July 29th, 1981, St. Paul's Cathedral, London. Diana walks down the aisle in a dress with a 25-foot train in front of 600,000 people lining the streets and 750 million watching on television. She accidentally reverses the order of Charles's names at the altar. She is 20 years old and terrified. Within months, she is suffering from bulimia. Within the first year of the marriage, she throws herself down a staircase at Sandringham, deliberately, because she says she feels so inadequate. She is 12 weeks pregnant. She tells Charles she needs help. She tells the palace she is struggling. She is told to pull herself together. By 1986, 5 years into the marriage, both of them are having affairs. Charles has resumed his relationship with Camilla. Diana begins a relationship with James Hewitt. The marriage is a performance being staged for the public, while both people inside it are desperately trying to survive it. The press start calling them the Glums. Their discomfort with each other is visible to everyone watching. 1992, author Andrew Morton publishes Diana, Her True Story. Everything comes out: the bulimia, the self-harm, the suicidal unhappiness, the affairs, the palace's failure to help her. The book is based on secret recordings Diana made herself. She sits alone in a room with a tape recorder and tells the whole truth because there is no other way to make anyone believe her. The palace is furious. Charles gives a television interview confirming his affair with Camilla. Diana has won the first round, but the palace is not finished. What Diana does next is the part of this story that most people underestimate, because she does not retreat. She escalates, and she uses the one weapon the palace cannot take away from her: the public's love. If you are watching this and you cannot look away, subscribe to Mindframe. We tell the stories behind the legends that the world missed. New documentary every week. Do not miss what is coming next. While the palace tries to manage the damage, Diana goes on the offensive. She sits in a hospital in Harlem and hugs a 7-year-old child with AIDS at a time when the Queen herself tells her to get involved in something more pleasant. She shakes hands with leprosy patients in Nepal. She walks through active minefields in Angola in a flak jacket and helmet and puts her body in the frame alongside the people the weapons have destroyed. She is not doing charity work. She is building a parallel power base, one that has nothing to do with the crown and everything to do with the people the crown ignores. Nelson Mandela says she transformed public attitudes and improved the life chances of people the world had written off. The director of the UK Institute of Charity Fundraising Managers says her overall effect on charity is probably more significant than any other person's in the 20th century. November 20th, 1995, the BBC Panorama interview. 23 million people watched Diana sit down with journalist Martin Bashir and say, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." She questions whether Charles has the temperament to be king. She admits her own affairs. She lays everything on the table without permission from the palace. The palace responds by stripping her of the title, Her Royal Highness, after the divorce in 1996. Charles insists on it personally. Her son William reportedly tells her, "Do not worry, Mummy. I will give it back to you one day when I am king." She replies to a threat from Prince Philip with, "My title is a lot older than yours, Philip." This is not a woman being destroyed. This is a woman who has figured out exactly how powerful she is. She is free. She is building something new. She has the love of the world and a plan for what to do with it. And then the summer of 1997 begins. In the summer of 1997, Diana is 35 years old and she is just beginning. She is in discussions with Prime Minister Tony Blair about a special government role, a platform for her campaigns that would give her the power to represent Britain's interests overseas officially. A role the palace could not control. She has auctioned her dresses at Christie's for charity. She has just returned from a solo trip to Bosnia, documenting landmine victims. She has met with Nelson Mandela. She has been speaking to the love of her life, a British-Pakistani heart surgeon named Hasnat Khan, who her friends say was the man she genuinely wanted to build a life with. The world the palace tried to push her out of is opening up in a completely different direction. August 31st, 1997. Paris, the Pont de l'Alma Tunnel. Diana is traveling in a Mercedes with Dodi Fayed and 2 others. Their driver, Henri Paul, is traveling at speeds between 65 and 100 miles per hour, attempting to lose the paparazzi following them on motorcycles. The car hits a concrete pillar inside the tunnel at 12:23 in the morning. Diana is pulled from the wreckage alive. She dies at 4 o'clock in the morning at Petit-Salpêtrière Hospital in Paris. She is 36 years old. The official inquest verdict: unlawful killing due to gross negligence by the pursuing paparazzi and the driver. Not an accident. Unlawful killing. The same media machine that had followed her every movement for 16 years, that had bought every photograph, published every story, created the market for the photographers racing through that tunnel, had hunted her to death, and the world that had consumed every image bought the next day's papers to read about it. 2.5 billion people watch her funeral, more than watched her wedding. The Landmines Treaty, the Ottawa Treaty, is signed 4 months after her death. 122 countries agree to ban anti-personnel mines. The campaign she built with her own body in front of cameras in Angola becomes international law. The National AIDS Trust, Great Ormond Street Hospital, Centrepoint. The charities she fought for continue. Her sons continue her work. William and Harry both carry visible marks of what their mother built and what her loss cost them. The palace stripped her title, tried to control her narrative, tried to push her to the edges of an institution she was never fully allowed into. She outlasted all of it. The crown tried to silence her. They stripped her title, managed her access, controlled the information, and still, 28 years after that tunnel in Paris, her name means more to more people than almost anyone who has ever worn a crown on that island. They could not silence her in life. They could not silence her in death either. If this story moved you, subscribe to Mindframe. Every legend has a story the world missed. We tell it. The next one is already coming, and you do not want to miss it.